Hello, welcome to ShropshireStar.com. My name's Jonny Drury and I'm here with a Shrewsbury Town update alongside Salop correspondent Ollie Westbury. Now, Ollie, it was a sort of busy week at Salop last week. We had the expected announcement of Mickey Moore taking over as director of football, but we also had the release to retain list of the Salop players who were out of contract. Some had options to extend. That news has now come out. And what have you made of it, Ollie? Really, it's been a few days since it came out. There's four that they've taken up. Options on Leahy, Dan Udo, George Nurse and Ryan Bowman. Not really many surprises in there for you?
No, I don't think so. I think it was one of those things that we were waiting for it to happen, but I think those guys who had options for an extension on were one of those things that we kind of expected. So yeah, I think obviously Luke Lee has been like a double player of the season award winner, and obviously George Nurse and Dan Udo were. Obviously, Dan Udo's history is well known with the fact that how many goals he scored the season before last. And so George Nurse was terrific, wasn't he, before he got injured? He was probably Shrewsbury's real standout player before he picked up that ACL injury in September. And the same with Ryan Bowman. I think there was some interest from other clubs in Ryan Bowman in January, and he kind of did well after Christmas. And you need kind of all kinds of players, don't you, in the squad? So I think those players do. Those decisions do make a lot of sense for Town.
In terms of the other players, I know they've offered fresh terms to Matthew Pennington and goalkeeper Harry Begorn. We spoke about him on our season review videos last week about the impact he has off the field. I know he doesn't play a lot of football because they've got Marco Morosi. Is that one that we're expecting to be signed or expecting news of that?
Yeah, we don't know, to be honest. We don't know what other options that Harry might have and discussions that he might be having with other clubs. So yeah, at this present moment in time, we don't know whether Harry Burgoyne's gonna take that contract or not. He's done really well at Shrewsbury, hasn't he? In terms of the impact that he has, he's so well liked, he's so popular. He did that very funny Christmas video, didn't he, where he kind of sang all those players' names. So, and he's a very nice chap whenever you see him around the training ground. So, fingers crossed, Harry decides that he wants to stay. He's a Shropshire boy, isn't he? So, I think that'd be a good thing for the club if Harry can, because having somebody like that who's puts the team first and is kind of quite committed to the course, despite probably not playing as many minutes as he would like, is important.
I think he's probably earned a new contract just from that Christmas video, really. The performance was superb. Just on the other play we mentioned there, there's a lot of question marks around Matthew Pennington. He's been superb since he came to Shrewsbury 2.5 sort of years ago as a loanee, I think, back then. Ollie, he's out of contract. He's been offered fresh terms, but we know that there's a number of clubs circling. Is there probably an acceptance that it's unlikely he'll sign that contract?
Yeah, perhaps. I think he's happy in the area and he's happy in Shropshire. Matthew Pennington, I think he's, but he's a good player, isn't he? He's a very, very good player, and you probably think that his ceiling's perhaps at a bigger club, maybe a low-end championship club or a club that's really kind of challenging for automatic promotion. I gather that there's quite a few clubs that are potentially interested in him. I don't know what stage of negotiation that they're at. I don't know whether anything's close or but I gather that there are quite a few clubs that are keen on Pennington. How far those negotiations have gone down the road at this stage, it's still early days. It's still May. The season only ended a few weeks ago, so there's a lot of time. I'm sure he will weigh up his options. He's obviously been offered a contract by Shrewsbury. We don't know. Do you know the length of that contract? I can't remember off the top of my head. Was it a year extension or did it not say?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say in our story.
He's been offered a contract by Shrewsbury. So yeah, it shows that they want to keep him, but I don't know. I think there's perhaps at the club a realism that Matthew Pennington's perhaps unlikely to be a Shrewsbury player next season.
Ollie, on released players, there's been a few that have been let go by Salop. Two of the senior boys, Elliot Bennett and Raquel Pike, have gone. Quite sad for Bennett, a Shropshire lad who's come back for a couple of years with his sort of home county club. But after his sort of injuries this season, was it kind of expected that he probably wouldn't get a new deal?
Yeah, I think firstly it's tremendously sad when players kind of get released. Elliot Bennett is a really, really nice chap. So it's sad for him from a personal perspective. Elliot had a tough year injury wise. He was recovering from injury in the summer, and it took him a while to get back into the swing of things. And then he picked up that injury problem he had over the Christmas. I think it was a calf problem that he was out, and he kind of struggled to get back into the team from that point. So you can kind of understand that he's not getting any younger, is he? So at his age, you can perhaps understand why Shrewsbury have made the decision that they have done. And then I suppose the same with Rakeel Pike. He had a few injury struggles towards the end of the season, and he perhaps didn't quite make the impact that he would have liked to, and was probably a little bit too much of a bit part player for Shrews. So you can kind of understand why they made the decisions that they did.
And we always see youngsters, who maybe have come to the end of their time under contract released. There's quite a few on that list for Shrewsbury this year. Only a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the goalkeepers. They've both gone, Jaden Bevan and Xander Park, who've been in and around the first team. Cade Craig, who was also in and around that first team squad. As was Josh Barlow, another one who was handed a couple of, in and around the first team squad. I think he got off the bench as well. Charlie Caton's the other one, which readers of the Shropshire Star will have seen this morning. Has made up a chunk of Dave Edwards' Shrewsbury Town column. In that list, Ollie, is anyone sort of surprising? I know Charlie Caton was sent out, scored quite a few goals for Chester in his loan spell. What have you made of those names that have gone?
Yeah, he's the one, isn't he? Charlie Caton is the one that did really well at Chester on loan, scored a lot of goals, and he's a young player. Dave Edwards wrote in his Shrewsbury Town Shropshire Star column that he kind of felt like that might be one that Town come to regret maybe in the future. They could have kind of signed him up, kind of sent him out on loan. So yeah, that's perhaps the one really. Charlie Caton, who did really well. The other young lads didn't really feature too much. It was quite hard to have too much of an opinion on them, really, because obviously with a lack of football, it's hard to form an opinion on players if they've not actually played that much. So, but yeah, Charlie Caton seems to be the one that stands out, that probably most fans, judging from the reaction on social media, seem to be disappointed by.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And if you haven't read Dave Edwards' column, do head over to the Shropshire Star and have a look on that. Ollie, it wouldn't be a Shrewsbury Town update video at the moment without asking about the manager, Steve Cotterill, and the situation and what's going on. I know you ran a story yesterday with former Town legend Bernie McNally saying, the club needed to come out and say something or do something on the matter. What is the latest that we know, Ollie?
Well, I'd say that's kind of an understatement, really. That yeah, that was there's some clarity on what's happening. And I know he said an update. I mean, an update. Yeah, I don't know. It's the God's honest truth. We're asking the questions, but there's not a fat lot that we can report at the moment. I'm not overly aware of what's actually happening. So yeah, we're as we were. I'm kind of astonished that it's taken quite this long. We're How long ago was it now when the season finished, and we're kind of no further on than we were. Obviously, there's the appointment of Mickey Moore, which was a really good appointment. But yeah, whatever the hold up seems to be in whatever's happening here, I don't know.